Saturday evening, 5:30pm kickoff down in Canberra at GIO Stadium. No changes for either side. It looks like they should line up 1 to 17 with Elliott Whitehead named again at 5'8".
A bit disappointed with the game last week. You know, such a great game coming to a draw at the end with the Raiders and the Knights, and to have it finish off the way it did, I thought it was really disappointing. I think the NRL do need to have a look at the Golden Point, whether they can incorporate some other options. I know we've seen on other shows such as the Locker Room, they've brought in ideas such as a nine-a-side in the final game.
I think it's a bit disappointing just to see it was an attacking free-flowing game, especially that second half. Teams throwing the ball around. That try where Jordan Rapana popped the ball back over his head with going into touch with three blokes on him was absolutely spectacular.
Yep.
And then it just went into a grinded out, field goal shootout, and some of those field goal shots were absolutely disgraceful, but not to mention that. I just think if we look at Golden Try to keep the game flowing, yeah, players are tired, but that opens it up a bit more. We need to look at Golden Try, opening up the space and opening up attacking opportunities. Not 100% sold on Denham Kemp in the Locker Room's idea of the niner side, but it's certainly an improvement on Golden Point. But the Golden Try, I like to lean that way just because, I mean, if they don't score, so be it. A draw's not the worst result, but the fans want to see the ball getting thrown around. That's what they love. The rugby league's all about.
Yeah. Let us know in your comment section there what your ideas are and what you think could work.
Yeah, definitely. Big change in the lineup late last week for the Raiders. They moved second row Elliott Whitehead. 2'8", sorry, at the expense of Lachlan Croker. Thought he did a good job there, just played his natural game, didn't really overdo it. What we've got to take into account with Whitehead is he did lead the Super League outside of halves for 2 years in a row and try assists. He hasn't played in the halves before, but he plays as a ball-playing second rower. Yep. So he's a perfect fit there, especially when you've got Sam Williams playing the way he is.
They really don't lose much there. Great Englishman. There's been a good crop of Englishmen coming over in the NRL at the moment, and he's definitely no exception.
Well, that's it. His teammates up there with him, Josh Hodgson, 8 from 9 points in the Dally M, absolutely killing it.
Great start, well in front of the others. So
that's
doing
it.
Well.
While we're mentioning players that are killing it at the moment, Ryan James off the bench. Great utility value, he's playing on the edges, he plays up the middle, he offers everything. I reckon Laurie Daly's got to be having a look at him as a bench forward.
He's got to be an option for the Blues this year. I think that's what they've been looking for, is just that hard player that just goes forward, can do a lot.
Got nothing to lose with him, that's for sure. He'll be an honest toiler for him.
Yeah, and this week's game, I mean, both sides exceeding expectations. I know we had Titans right down the bottom, we had Raiders sort of middle of the pack, and mate, they're right up there and they're playing some great rugby, so it's good to watch, and I think this week's game might be a ripper.
Yeah, me too. I'm a Raiders fan. I certainly didn't tip them to be going this well so early. I mean, we haven't had the toughest draw, but we've certainly given it a good run. I'm looking at the Raiders here. I might be a little bit biased, but I'll be taking them 1 to 12 in this one. I won't be expecting them to blow it out. I just expect a good contest with lots of edge play, your ball playing forwards with your likes of your Whiteheads, your Birds, Soliola. So I reckon it'll be an absolute cracker, as you said.
Yeah, I'm going to go with you there. Raiders 1 to 12. I just think they'll offer too much, especially with Hodgson at hooker. 1 to 12 again, close one.
Second up on Saturday at 7:30pm from Allianz Stadium, we've got the Roosters hosting the Sea Eagles. Changes for the Roosters, we've got Brendan Elliott and Aloni Vunakisi in. Abraham Papali named it on extended bench as 18th man. Out are Dale Copley and Ian Henderson, both with injuries. Manly, meanwhile, have 0 changes to the team that lined up last week. All right, a lot of pressure this week on the Roosters young halves in Hastings and Nicarima. Mitchell Pearce is only a couple of weeks away from coming back, and those two guys in reality are both fighting for the same spot now that Nicarima's burst in. Hastings obviously sitting in the box seat a little bit, but I think both of them need to step up.
Mate, they've just lacked in the halves. The Roosters, they've got a good bit of punch there, plenty of attacking on the outside. Sean Kenny-Dow making some solid breaks. Just don't have it in the halves.
They're not getting enough early clean ball in the right spots. Like, they're trying to get to the right spots. You've got internationals on the edges with Kenny Dow, Tupou, Joe Burgess when he was in. There's some really strong players there, but they're just not delivering for them.
Yeah, exactly. They've got to step up. One of them's going to be in the selection in the next couple of weeks. So, yeah, it's be interesting to see how they fire.
Yeah, definitely. Manly, on the other hand, I've been pretty hard on Dylan Walker. He seems to have stepped up. I think he's had the pressure taken off him, as I've tipped into the last couple of weeks. Brett Stewart coming back from that hamstring injury certainly alleviated the pressure. It's meant Tom Trbojevic can return to his natural role, and Dylan Walker, the ball playing pressure isn't as much on him.
Exactly. I think being at the game live, you could really see Brett Stewart injected a bit more, use himself as a ball player. Dylan Walker did what he does well, what he's been renowned for, which is as a running player. So I think that's where he offers better for the Manly side, is a bit more running on the outside, and I think he was very hard to tackle on those edges. So.
Yeah, definitely seeing a return to the strong ball running 5'8". You have a look at how Jared Mullen played against the Raiders. Even Elliott Whitehead playing in that role was ball running. Greg Bird's been playing really well for the Titans. There's no coincidence. Mitch Moses as well. There's no coincidence that these are the teams that are going well. I think we're really going back to, with that lesser interchange, guys are prepared to take the line on a lot and then ball play occasionally are really paying dividends.
Definitely. Taupau, bloody like How he could get the same grading as what Kieran Foran did with the alleged touching of the ref, just disgraceful. I think he was really lucky to stay on in that match, and lucky to be playing this week.
Definitely. Look, I mean, I'm a pretty big supporter of the referees, that's no secret, but there's a real reluctance to send players from the field. If that's not a send-off, I'm not sure what is. I think you probably need to take a knife out in your sock and probably give multiple wounds with one before you get sent off. We've got 15 gradings with the tackles. We go careless, reckless, intentional. I'm not suggesting it's intentional. I'm probably not even suggesting it's reckless, but it's certainly higher up than the second of 15 gradings. For me, a careless is, like a slap around the chops, nothing much in it. Careless grade 2, I'm thinking careless grade 4 or 5, and probably 3 weeks on the sideline. I don't think you need to be rubbed out for a long time, but 3 weeks on the sideline, considering he doesn't have a massive record. When I first thought it was Steve Maddow, I thought he probably needed to sit out for 8 weeks, and I realised it was Taupau. But yeah, certainly need to be a little bit more stringent on it. The touching of the referee, that's a whole other kettle of fish, but we certainly need to address that at points too.
Definitely. This one, I think if it was played at Brookvale, it'd be going Manly 13 plus, but because it's in the city there, I think the Roosters might have a bit of home ground advantage there, albeit not much, but I think it'll be a little bit closer, probably Sea Eagles 1 to 12.
Yeah, I'll be leaning Sea Eagles 1 to 12 as well. I'm not too sure about home ground advantage. Based on the crowd that was drawn last Monday night and the fact that the Roosters barely draw a crowd at the best of the times, the crowd could be in the single digits, so I don't know how much of an advantage that'll be, but yeah, I'll be going to Sea Eagles 1 to 12. I think the Roosters have got to step up at some point.
Yep.
Our one and only Sunday match comes live from Wynn Stadium in Wollongong with St George Illawarra Dragons hosting the Penrith Panthers at 4 o'clock Australian Eastern Time. No changes for the Dragons. They line up 1 to 17, the same as last week. Panthers, meanwhile, welcome in Trent Merrin and Wanga Blake, with Jeremy Lattimore making way.
Both coming off really good wins the week before against quality opposition. Dragons over South, who were right up there at the start of the year. And then we've also got the Panthers going up against Broncos, which have really been the leaders so far this year.
Yeah, the Broncos for me were the yardstick. I certainly didn't see that one coming. It's probably the biggest upset of the round. I mean, it was only by a 1 point margin, but as we addressed before, that lack of urgency and, I mean, the elephant in the room is the debut of Tamare Martin. It was very reminiscent of another Kiwi touch football stepping ace who made his debut at a young age for the Tigers and may well indeed make a late return here and come back from his hamstring injury, which would be great to see, the old bull versus the young buck. I think there's a lot of similarities. Both come from a touch background, both went to Keebra Park, and both, had absolutely exemplary debuts and then had people coming out that know their background saying that they're only in third gear. So we could see some more from Tamare here, and it might actually jag Benji up a gear as well.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously Benji on 360 speaking mentioned that he pretty solid chance of playing this week, so it'll be good to watch him playing against him. I mean, this year I think is Benji's return back to his form. He's playing some good rugby. Playing back to his running rugby, throwing some dummies, which he's renowned for. So it'd be good to see how they go. The halves versus each other.
I think his age has taken a little bit of a toll, but he's certainly still got those moments of magic. They're just not as frequent, but certainly still there. And love to see both of them throwing the ball around, busting out those big steps that are becoming more and more pronounced in the rugby league world now.
Exactly, and Mr. Merrin himself, the king of bunch and overs, up against his old club. Be interesting to see how he goes.
Yeah, definitely be interesting to see. I'm expecting a big effort from him. He'll be a bit more comfortable, closer to the beach this week, and who knows, depending on the schedule, might even see Sally at the game. That might get him and a few of the other boys fired up, I reckon.
That'll get the crowd down there too.
That's exactly right. Looking for this one to be a cracker of a game. I've underdone over this one a lot, but I think if Benji plays, the Dragons will get it done. If he doesn't play, it's a toss of the coin, so I'm just going to lean the Dragons 1 to 12 in this one.
Yeah, I'm leaning the same way, 1 to 12 if Benji plays. Otherwise, if Benji is out, I think the Panthers will just have too much in them and they'll win 1 to 12. So it really goes on who's going to be playing this week.
You've got to really be getting some splinters in your arse.
I am, yeah. Got to be on the bench.
That's 2 from 4 where you've sat on the fence, mate.
Yeah, they're tough round this week, tough round.
There's some cracking games. Thanks again for tuning into the Saturday and Sunday Easter Round 4 NRL preview. Hopefully you're enjoying the weekend of footy so far. Good luck with the rest of your tips. And as always, don't forget to give us a like, share, comment and give us a follow on Snapchat to keep up to date with everything that's going on and breaking news.